Oh, you're gonna enjoy this.
I don't pay attention to, like I told you multiple times now. I don't pay attention to Smokey's channel.
We're live.
Okay.
Okay, just so you know. Okay. Anyway, so this just came to my attention because I got fucking tagged on Facebook.
Jesus. Apparently, I got tagged too. I don't know why.
Yeah, and that gets a little personal. People shouldn't be tagging me with this shit on Facebook. Because, oops, it gets to be a problem.
There we go.
Okay. Anyway, but there were some interesting things that I spotted before the Leo thing in this little review here. Let me just share the screen. I just want to play this. We got to listen to this part. I mean, and
Nathan's here.
Oh, where's Nathan? Hi, Nathan.
In the live chat.
Finally.
Finally. Oh, so it's Netflix.
I haven't seen him for a while. Hang on a second here. Okay. Let me try to get this queued up. But just show you what kind of pieces of shit these people are. Well, the interesting thing is they pushed back on him, but there was a part right here which they were talking about Matt Powell, and Smokey's defending Matt Powell, saying that he never called for the execution of homosexuals. But I think I heard a video. I know I heard a video. That was his opening video, his first video, right?
Dude,
so it's like, what the fuck?
I don't know why Smokey is like so. I don't know.
I mean, that's what made Matt Powell famous. That's how, like,
the
very
he
first
followed
video.
directly. Yeah, because he followed directly, like in Steven Anderson's and like all the other, like freaking NIFB's like footsteps with it.
Yeah. Okay, people want a link, so I'm going to give them a link. Smokey will probably show up at some point, but I won't let him in, probably.
Well, if he wants to bitch and moan, let him.
Okay. Anyway, let me play this, and please let it go through. Don't force give me. Wait a minute. What's happening?
Why is it buffering?
I don't know. This is weird. Oh
Come
no,
on, Michael.
Oh no! Did he take the video down already?
Did he?
He might have.
Try refreshing it.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Nestle, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Well, I don't know what's
Okay. Listen to this, guys. You want to listen to Mr. Batman?
type of history they have. I have no idea about that, Matt Powell, and yeah, no, I wouldn't think Matt Powell said anything. But no, he looks very, very down on Matt Powell because they've all painted Matt Powell as this I don't know thing that I don't know what. I'm not entirely sure. Like they think he really wants to like actively murder all homosexuals or something. I'm not sure what they're trying to really ultimately painting him as. But yeah, no, it's. But Peterson's having some conniptions here.
Well, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Can you murder somebody who is worthy of the death penalty?
I wouldn't say so.
Great.
Well,
so it's not that you can murder homosexuals, that they would be worthy of the death penalty.
Well, there's got to be due process. Torah requires due process by 2 or 3 witnesses. So if you skip that, it's still murder.
I agree wholeheartedly. But if you have those 2 or 3 witnesses, and those 2 or 3 witnesses are willing to testify in front of the Sanhedrin and cast the first stone, then this is an acceptable way of putting these people to death.
Oh my God. You fucking
well,
believe that? Do you believe that shit?
Smokey was a bit taken back by that comment, I think.
Smokey was, and so was Mr. Parker. Miss Parker said, "Batman, what the fuck?"
Oh, wait, that's Batman, the same guy that debated Dino.
Yeah.
This is the same Mr. Batman that tries to merge Precept with like Kent Hovind's fucking script.
Morning. So what the fuck is this what is the Holy Sanhedrin? What was he talking about? What is that?
No idea.
Not a clue.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Don't know and don't care to find out.
Does he live in this country?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
He claims he's a teacher, and by that he means he's a substitute teacher, but he doesn't actually reveal that fact.
They let him around kids?
Apparently.
What if he finds?
Are we talking about Mr. Batman? I'm confused.
Yes.
What if he finds a little?
God, that fucking guy he's a piece of work. Jesus Christ.
What if he finds little homosexual children? Does he murder them?
Oh, no. Okay, I'm wondering if I should tell you the story live.
Might
Okay,
as well.
somebody's car.
Live.
Might as well.
Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin are a member of like 24 or 72 elders, and they pretty much go around making the decisions. So you bring them; they're pretty much like a council or a judge. You go around, you bring it to them, and they make the judgment on the what gets done. Essentially, that's what the Sanhedrin is.
Did they live in Texas?
Sure, probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
something to do with the priesthood or something like that. I forget exactly. Christ is supposed to resurrect it or something like that. I don't know exactly.
But no, Speed. Remind me to tell you, you know, the story of what this guy. Well, there's somebody. There's a really fucked up story surrounding Mr. Batman that Immutable probably knows which one I'm thinking about.
Well, might as well tell it on air.
We can hear it.
Stop beating around the bush.
I really want to hear this.
Okay, well, fine. Apparently, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Apparently, this motherfucker actually told a little girl on a bus that her being molested was God's plan. I shit you the fuck up. Sorry, I shit you the fuck not.
Okay, where did you eat?
This is verifiable. Okay, the streams are still there somewhere. This was like from, I don't know, but it's verifiable.
Did he admit to it?
Yes, it was live on air. I just don't know the stream.
Was he arrested for?
Well, no. You know, he's not. I mean, he's not gonna get arrested for telling a girl that her being molested is God's plan. That's not really.
I think that should be. I think
fucked up.
I think that's actually some form of child abuse. I don't know. I think he should have been arrested. Huh?
Once you say God's plan, that take away the child abuse.
Yeah, her being molested is God's plan. Like, okay, even if that's true, why the fuck would you say that to her? Just, like, mind your own fucking business.
Wow.
Evil.
If you find those clips, I would like to see him. But boy, he's a piece of work.
You know what's worse?
Did he also molest her, or was it like somebody else?
No, it was someone else. But like, yeah,
well, he was
know what's worse than that, right?
You've been around longer than me. You know what I mean? You know, I remember once watching I was actually watching that, you know, that Nadia, the 8-hour Nadia hangout where that happened. It was like, holy shit.
Oh, never mind.
You know, I don't think this shit actually has anything to do with Christianity or religion.
No, it doesn't.
This has to do with the people that are doing this kind of stuff.
This has entirely to do with Christian Hillbilly as a person and his whack morals.
Yeah.
Christian Hillbilly, Batman. Like, I remember another story he told me that he used to be an atheist, right?
Take a shot every time you hear that line.
I know, right? He used to be an atheist, and apparently his drunk uncle was an atheist also, but he was an alcoholic, and then he found God. He stopped being an alcoholic, and then according to him, he tried to argue evolution with his uncle, but couldn't do it. So he became a Christian because of his uncle. I'm like, sure, buddy, sure. I believe
that story follows perfectly consistent. There are no
I believe you.
There are no inconsistencies with that story or no gaps at all.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me, but I can never believe. Like, I have a hard time believing that. Oh, I used to be an atheist, and now I'm a Christian. Okay, like I don't know whether that there would be a no true atheist fallacy. It's just it's one of those things where when you hear them talk and their view of atheism is so bizarre and alien that you have to wonder, would they ever really an atheist?
Well, there's a lot of people that are raised.
Oh yeah, I used to be an atheist. I ate babies all the time. As for breakfast.
Well, no.
You guys
See,
doing the
nobody ever mentioned that. Thank fucking God. But it's always like,
Well,
I used to be an atheist, and I didn't like materialism and how, and how it led to solipsism and how we're all meaningless and sacks of meat. So I became a Christian because.
I mean, there's always like weird stories you run into. It's like, oh, I used to hate God and have sex with other men and just constantly like. Sexually fornicate, and it's like, and then I found God, and it's like, okay,
that's weird. How can you hate God if God doesn't exist? That one always gets me.
No, hang on. Well, hang on. Like, I always everyone's talking about this. Like, whenever I know we're just watching the video, so I'll shut up in a minute. But the whole thing, like, if God doesn't exist, why do you hate him? Okay, well, I can hate God the same way I hate Darth Vader because he's a fucking villain. Just because something doesn't exist doesn't mean you can't hate it.
Go around like talking about how much I hate Darth Vader. Just okay, if it comes up in conversation, I guess. I don't know. It seems like people go out of their way to talk about how much they hate Darth Vader.
I hate fucking unicorns.
Okay, some atheists do. Like, I hate God. A lot of them, I'm just saying. The whole thing. Christians. All right,
Midnight. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
The other one is with like the hell concept, where people still like mentally go through the process of whether they're going to go to hell or not. Like how can you still say that you're an atheist if you're still fighting that concept? Like that seems very unatheist. Like I didn't have that problem as an atheist, and I guess I hear that with people, that how they sometimes I'm like, well, then how are you still an atheist if you're worried about going to hell? Or what you do? Like you sound, you just have a. I've had people. I want to understand that one.
I've had people. Hang on a second. I've had people ask me after I've told them I'm an atheist if I believe in the devil. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway, there is a class of Christians that just grow up. They go to church, or their mom brings them to church once in a while, and they never actually think about it. And then later on, they're converted. And they say, I used to be an atheist. It really means I used to never think about this shit. So, anyway.
That's a fair point, actually, yeah.
Yep. So I wasn't going to play this other part, but Leo came in and telling Smokey about calling him pedophilius. And then it ended up on Facebook, and it came back. Basically,
you guys should see what happened on my channel, man. It was crazy.
Really?
What happened?
Oh, yeah. Like last morning, Nakasuchi came on and Smokey came on, and it was pretty okay. I had earlier streaming, it kind of went to shit at the end, so I restarted it when I got home because I was at work. And then when I restarted, they both came in and fucking they just kept going back and forth. And I was like, guys, I'm like, at the end of it, I was like, I didn't know we were still in high school, guys, because like I just couldn't believe how much insults were being thrown at each other, and the shit that was said was just abhorrent. And I'm just sitting here like, wow, okay, this actually happened. And now everyone's going to be doing like a show on it. I know Nakasuchi said, I think Smokey said he was. And
you don't think that was wrong with Smokey, though? What he was saying about Jen Aldridge?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh God, that's the whole meme thing. I remember. What was it the other day when when Rage let Jen on, and it was such a shit show.
Oh, that was great. She Batman Smokey. She did a Batman. This one guy. Let's see. What was the name of that video that you're talking about?
Warm outside.
Warm inside.
Warm inside. Yeah.
Why are you hiding us? Like I feel so hidden.
I like the animosity or the anonymous, whatever it's called.
What happens
anonymity.
Anonymity.
Oh
no, I'm revealed.
What?
They can see me.
You're revealed. Oh no.
We all know what happens when you put snowflakes in the sunlight.
Yeah, can I post the video for the Earl?
Yeah, go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
Okay. You know what, Immutable? That's actually funny because I could be considered a snowflake because I'm an albino. So there you go.
Well, there we go.
If you review it, it saves me the trouble of doing it because I wanted to, but I really didn't want to because I don't want to seem narcissistic. It seems kind of weird reviewing your own channel, then not having like
I know
at least Smoking or Rage in there to at least see what I'm talking about. But then I think in the video I say everything I need, so at the end of it, I really don't need to review it because I say what I need to in the video in itself. Like, really.
I mean, it's not really narcissistic. I don't know. I don't really see it. I guess I could kind of see that, but it's like you're reviewing. I don't know. I see your point, but I disagree with it. Moving on.
I just put a link up for your channel too. So
Dope. Thanks.
Yep. Yes, and I'll put it in the description if I can find the goddamn thing. But anyway, yeah. So that was all I had there, and then the other thing is this morning. I don't know where you are on the evolution thing, Tog. I'm not entirely
I
sure.
follow it. I'm not creationist in the sense.
Okay, so I got answers.
I'm creationist, but I kind of adhere to evolution, not as best as I should. But it's I can't say it's a definite yes, but I have to align with evolution because it's what off the factors that I know. It's not a definite like full yes.
Okay.
You know, because I don't know enough about it to actually.
God created the universe at the beginning and let everything else unfold naturally.
I mean,
exactly,
that's way more consistent than like I don't know. I was actually having this discussion with Leo the other day on Twitter, and he's like, you know what? Never mind. Moving on. Speed, are you gonna play this or not?
No.
I don't want to take up the entire thing. What are we doing?
No, actually, I wasn't. I just wanted to play that one clip from Nutcake. That was it.
So then why are you still sharing?
Well, do you guys want to see your icons bigger or some fucking thing?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
Damn.
Are we playing the video or are we just?
Tog was just talking about narcissism, and
If you want to play it, by all means, yeah.
No. There's nothing else I want to. The only thing I want to play on Smokey is that David Neff naturalism debate he had, because Smokey actually had arguments and it made sense. So
yesterday morning he did not make sense at all because he was straight up saying, because after I made the high school comment, he's like, well, what do you have to expect when you're talking to and he's talking about this in Nakasuchi. He's talking about this to him, and he's like, well, when you're talking to a Down syndromed 5-year-old, what do you expect?
Is that what Smokey said?
Yeah, he said that about to knock, and I'm thinking in my head. So you're gonna talk to a Down syndrome 5-year-old and call him, "Hey, what's up, you little fat rat-faced retard? How you doing there, buddy?" And I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, so this is what you say, and the 5-year-old's supposed to be the kid here, yet you're not acting like the adult,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's
like actually funny because I've mentioned this to you. I've mentioned this to Smokey before, just kind of like as a matter of internal consistency on his worldview. It's like, look, if you think people are genuinely retarded, you're making yourself stupid, like by going after them as hard as you are.
Okay,
right? Because
I mean, if he thinks he's his own kid, by all means, yell at the motherfucker. But fuck that.
No,
that's
but I mean, it's a little weird. No, I mean, it's like if you claim moral high ground over somebody because you have objective morality that's somehow temporally changing, okay, like, why are you being a fucking dick? Like, what? Like, if you think these people are so inferior to you, why aren't you more graceful with them?
Exactly.
I have to publicly
wouldn't you think it would call for an adult being in that conversation? Go ahead, sorry.
I have to publicly retract something I just said. I said Smokey made sense. What I meant is that he actually had an argument. He actually spelled out an argument with words instead of just calling people trash clowns. So I didn't mean to imply that he made any sense or that he had a good argument. So I'm sorry.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I apologize.
I mean, I've heard a lot of different claims from Smokey, namely being like he studied philosophy, and it's just like, oh Jesus! If he has, that is scary. If he has,
I think that's just the backfire to his method, though. To be honest, is when he says stuff like that because it backfires. Honestly, it does. It'd work more if he. I told him this yesterday. I'm like, you don't build up people when you bring them down. I'm like, if you build them up more, you'd be a little bit more successful. No, he's like, nope, not going to do that. I'm like,
so here's an interesting thing. Like, because me and him haven't really talked about ethics, but I did ask him, like, okay, so you do know what objective morals are, right? And he tried to define them, and I'm like, no, what you're describing is morals that are absolute but not objective. Objective morals, an objective moral standard just means that that standard, whatever it happens to be, exists like outside of any construction that's used for it.
Yeah.
Like those are like universal principles like that are adhered to by whatever ethical system somebody's adopting. And he got triggered over that because he didn't understand it and he didn't like want to accept that. And it's like, this is basic like philosophy.
Yeah, like an absolute moral would only be possible if there was a God, right? Dictating.
No, I mean you can have absolute like you can have like absolute systems like that try to ground themselves and like certain things, like certain actions are only right if they adhere to like some set of ethical standards. But for the most part, those fail, like for multiple reasons.
What would be the physical reality of such a thing for an absolute moral? What
There wouldn't be a physical reality for it. It would exist in and of itself.
in and of
Like
itself? Yeah, so that's
need any other grounding.
yeah, and that's basically a God.
Yeah, it wouldn't need any grounding. It wouldn't need any further grounding for its existence.
Interesting. Anything that exists but doesn't really exist is a God.
I mean, it exists by virtue of like conception.
It doesn't exist anywhere. You can't touch it. It's not around. Yet it underlies everything, but we can't describe it. And so it doesn't really exist. Yet it exists, so it's a God. So God is a non-existent existent. Does that make sense?
God exists outside of space and time, so he doesn't exist at any time and at no place.
Well,
Yeah.
you also forget that he also exists inside us. That's an important. So outside.
So
and
God,
inside. So there's that. So exists within, but also exists without. And outside. So that's kind of weird.
God exists inside a physical vessel, but also is immaterial and transcendent to space and time.
Someday I would like to talk to you on that about that talk, just you. So
okay, well, yeah, don't be. I'm not very smart, so really, I won't be very impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
I think in that discussion, maybe being smart is a disadvantage. I don't know. I don't know. It's and I didn't mean that in a facetious or mean way. I mean, basically, anyway. This whole thing about connecting to God within yourself, that was actually the topic of Steve McRae and Fuzz Rana's Agree to Argue last night. Religious experiences. And Fuzz Rana doesn't know what did he call it? He had two kinds of religious experience, sort of a common kind and then, extraordinary religious experience. Fuzz Rana doesn't know what that is. He thinks it's when you have a hallucination and you see Jesus, but he doesn't understand real spiritual experiences. So that was interesting. But anyway, they had
spooky.
What's that?
I said that would be spooky. Like if I started seeing like Jesus, maybe I would question myself.
You might.
Like, I would literally go. I would literally go if I started hearing like voices. I'm like, I'm gonna go see a doctor now. I think I finally cracked the code or some shit because something's up.
So now
something's not right. Something's broken.
No true Christian fallacy. I mean, you was never a real Christian if you never saw God.
Well,
the Bible,
real Christian.
I guess the only determined way to test it is if like Jesus, like if I did see Jesus and Jesus was telling me stuff that like was true, like predictions that things that were about to happen and they happen, and then like I like pass the word along like as the mediator or whatever. Like in that sense, that's the only like predictable ways. Like have like ghost detector Jesus,
or you're like Jim Carrey with Morgan Freeman. Like, how many fingers do I hold?
Yeah,
it's one of those interesting things where, like the whole topic of like can a person, like if a person claims to see like God, like the Christian God, like during a trip or whatever, like are they actually like professing Christianity? Depends which part of the Bible you take seriously on that one. Because the Old Testament says that people have seen the true image of God but have not died. But the New Testament says the exact opposite. Well,
the thing, I have a story that I've told before about encountering Jesus when I was an atheist. And, it was an encounter, and it was an interesting subjective experience, which I had colored in after the fact in order to insert my Presbyterian church portrait of Jesus, which I grew up with, into something that happened to me as I was falling asleep, and I was jolted awake by something, and it felt like a presence above my bed. And the reason for it is that I had been pretending to be a Christian for about 2 months. So I was like trying to get myself into the mindset so that I could communicate. And the interesting thing is I entered this forum because I wanted to explain this old earth idea that you talked about, Nestling, of basically God created the universe and let everything unfold. So I got on this forum, but they would throw you off if they thought you were an atheist. So I had to pretend to be a Christian. So I did this for 2 months. And then one night while I was falling asleep, I had one of these things where you're shocked awake. And I had a feeling of something, a presence above my bed. And I got out of bed and I went and deleted my account from that Christian forum because it freaked me the fuck out. I mean, it was starting to affect my dreams or whatever. So, I mean, that can happen to you. And I'm sure that happens to a lot of people. And there's just all varieties of these experiences, varieties of religious experiences that are.
When that happened, were you laying straight on your back?
I was.
Yeah, that usually happens with people when they if you go follow the phenomena of sleep paralysis demon, usually that happens to people. They sleep on their back, and that's something that happens.
Oh shit!
When people sleep on their back, it triggers something in the mind, and we just like we're in a half state of awareness and sleep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we can't move because our body's in that rest mode, but we're conscious, and it takes a while for us to stir up or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I've had a couple of episodes and I settled into it.
Also, sometimes your self-awareness can also glitch up, so to speak. So you can confuse yourself with another person. Like, for example, like they did an experiment where you were controlling a robot, which tickles your backside, but there's a delay of like a few seconds. And even though you are controlling the robot, the delay causes a disconnect between you and yourself.
Right.
So that it feels like somebody else is scratching your back, even though you know it's you.
I have another experience called a brain crash. There's something online about them, and that's where basically visual hallucinations are never really quite perfect, but audio hallucinations are really just eidetic. It's almost like somebody said something to you, and like I will hear my sons often call down the stairs. I live on the bottom floor, and they will call down the stairs and they'll say, "Dad." But I'll hear them do that, and then I'll fucking text them and call them and say, "What do you want?" And they'll say, "We didn't say that." And I swear I heard it. And then I've heard other things like out in the yard and stuff, but the sounds aren't really there. It's just that as I'm waking up, I swear I heard this sound. So it's really interesting. But
people tend to think that their senses are like most often just perfect and such. Of course, you have to think that way because you have to rely on them for most of the time. But in reality, like hallucinations are very common. And I don't mean hallucinations like, oh, you were seeing the wall melt before your eyes, like just tiny things. Like, for example, hearing a noise that wasn't there. Yeah. It's fairly common.
Yeah, audio is worse than visual. I always talk about the black crow and the black squirrel hallucination I had. I walked out into the yard and through the corner of my eye, I caught a crow in the tree, and then all of a sudden the crow started running around the trunk of the tree, and I realized that it was a black squirrel, and I kind of recorded how this all happened, and it probably happened within 1 second that I went from thinking it was a crow to thinking it was a squirrel. But that happens to us all the time. We walk into a room and we think we see something, and then it's this, and then we realize what it really is. So
your brain tries to interpret an image as fast as possible, and sometimes you can mistake something for something else. Like if you see like a straight brown line on the ground, your brain will tend to think snake. Yeah, but maybe a stick. Maybe a stick. It happens.
What is that meme? Snake, mushroom. What the hell is that? You remember that? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh shit! It's like snake, mushroom.
Oddly, I was gonna say, oddly enough, with like the going back to that the sleep thing, like the first time I experienced it as a Christian, I actually called out like to Christ, and like I was able to like move around and stuff. It was a very odd experience because I've had them before where I didn't believe, and I was always like, okay, this is weird, and freaked out about it. But like the first time like I ever did it as a Christian, I called out to Christ, and I was like released, so to speak, in quotations. And I always found that interesting, and I don't have them that much anymore, which is weird.
Yeah, you're probably gonna hate this, but I mean, if you have a Christian mold to pour that into, that's what you'll pour it into. But if you have a more of a Buddhist mold to pour it into,
Oh yeah, sure, of course, I figured something like that, but
yeah,
it's still interesting.
And nowadays, like sleep paralysis is often associated with. Oh. All right.
You guys have heard this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I didn't know we were talking about that. Okay. But today sleep paralysis is often associated with like alien abduction. But it used to be more
Right.
like with demons. Like, oh, I was visited by a demon in the Middle Ages or something like that. Yeah.
Sleep paralysis is something that I experience probably every maybe 2 months, and it is horrible. It's like I'm locked in and I cannot get out, and it seems to go on for like 20 minutes, and I freak the hell out because at my age, I start thinking, could this kill you? As soon as you think that and you can't move and you can't get out of it, it's like, holy shit, that's frightening. Because you can't even control your breath, it's like, it's really bad.
I wonder, like, with the alien probe bit, if it's related to like the whole sleep thing and the whole thing, like if everyone feels it like up the butt, if it's really just like them feeling their own shit in their ass. And that's why they feel like they're being probed.
Oh, that's good.
Oh God! And I wonder if like they all like have morning shits, if that's their like regular routine, and that's why, if that's the case.
That's a good theory.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on just a second. I love that fucking thing. Mushroom, snake. Anyway, when you said snake, I thought of this thing for some reason. Yep. This is the channel where you come for really, really important content.
Yeah.
Yep. So I got an Answers in Genesis newsletter yesterday. And after scrubbing it with alcohol, Answers Insider, they have a new series, and I ordered one. I paid $4 fucking for this Kidz edition of the Answers in Genesis, and then they charged me $5 for shipping and handling. Anyway, the fun family wandered into Kidz Answers magazine, so they have a fun new family, and they said, what do they say here? Never before have children been in such need of publication that helps ground them in the truth of the scripture, starting in Genesis. That's why we have doubled the Genesis-based content in Kidz Answers. Young readers now get 16 pages of fun activities, fascinating animal facts, kid-friendly apologetics, and articles about God's fantastic creation.
So is this an admission? So is this an admission on creationists' behalf that they haven't been doing very good at like maintaining like the young population of creationists that still exists?
Oh yeah, they have lectures.
Honestly, I don't like the way that sounds and the way that pamphlet sounds. The only reason why is because it definitely sounds like a militaristic style of preparation of children into the realm of apologetics. Like this is the end all be all. From what I got from that.
The other thing is it's completely dishonest. Like ever since the 60s and 70s, like they've been doing like this exact thing, like trying to educate children with creationism.
Speed, can you stop sharing, Speed?
And it hasn't worked.
Oh, sure. You want me to stop sharing because you want to see everybody?
Yeah, you can clearly see everybody. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, but the first paragraph said highlights National Geographic's Kidz, Ranger Rick. Many kids magazines today push modern culture's anti-Christian worldview by promoting evolution and LGBTQ agenda. In contrast, our Kids Answers magazine affirms the Bible and teaches about creation. And they have a new family, the Wander family, WANDER, and our new Wanders in Creation story series. It's a blast. Dad, a geologist. Oh boy. Mom, a nature photographer. Big sister Eva and little brother Andy travel to exciting locations around the world, encountering the evidence of creation and the flood.
Let me guess. The first location is the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
There we go.
Really?
Anyway.
Am I right? Am I right?
I don't know. I ordered the first episode. We'll know about it in a few days. I think it's going to take them like next Thursday before they can. For $5 I expected.
I actually prefer you not pay them any money. So
I know. Well, I could have got it in 2 days, but I would have had to pay them like $30 for shipping.
Holy shit!
Jesus.
Oh, and they have a whole series.
Money for Jesus.
Okay, that brings me to the next topic. David Neff reached out to me, and we haven't set it up yet, but he wants to come on and talk about his experience being educated with something called ACE, ACE. And I looked a little bit of that up. It's called Accelerated Comprehensive Christian Curriculum for Children.
Wow.
And they'll sell you all their books for $280, probably $3,000 in shipping and handling. I don't know. I haven't ordered, but I'm not going to buy these motherfuckers. But they have science books for children that they're promoting. Anyway, he wants to come on and talk about his experience with that. And I think he said it makes Kent Hovind look like a scholar.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, it's okay. Let me give you a link to the thing. Holy shit, that's a big link. What the fuck?
That's a big link.
I mean, it's a really big link. What the fuck is in? Accelerated Christian Agenda. Let's see. Okay, I'll tell you what.
It's pretty telling that they refer to like evolution and LGBT promotion as anti-Christian, because it's not. You can still be a Christian if LGBT people exist, and if the predominant science is evolution, you can still be a Christian.
Well, Tog, with what you were talking about, like what Nestle described as a ultra old Earth creationist where God lets things unfold, and with a spiritual view of Christianity, we have a bridge between my atheism and Buddhism and what you believe. So you're as close to most people in building a bridge where it doesn't matter exactly what our ultra worldview is. We can pretty much talk the same language and come to the same conclusions. So anyway, I appreciate that about old Earth Christians. So I'm not gonna. Yeah, well, I won't talk about my condescension camps and my anti-theism. Legal said I could use the word condensation camp.
Accelerated Christian Education. Subtitle: Get them while they're young.
Yeah, exactly. But you can imagine if you were brought up with that kind of education, by the time you entered college, you would be for one, you'd be ill prepared to enter college, and number two, when you run into the shock, I mean, when you started to look at how other people think, it may be the slap in the face that takes you right out of Christianity. And that's one of the things that they're talking about. And so I think creationism creates more atheists than anything else.
I think there was a
And
I
evolution.
think there was a study that shows that like higher education, like higher education in America is often correlated with lower religiosity. In other countries, it is not, because they learn to how do you call it, to reconcile science and religion early on. And when they don't do that, then they will either they will choose between one or the other later.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen.
Hey, Michael.
What?
I found a place where we can make a lot of response videos, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already done this, but it might help grow the channel.
Is it PragerU?
No,
Where?
it's kind of worse.
Where?
Heard of Mike Riddle,
No.
Creation Training Initiative guy?
Oh. Sounds juicy.
Is it a bit of orange guy?
Are you putting?
No, this is an old white dude that doesn't understand jack about shit about science.
Did you put the fucking link in private chat again?
I did.
You have a goddamn rent.
I did.
Do you Immutable? Do you remember a bit of orange? Like he went on.
Oh my god, that guy.
He went on Jackson's channel once, and he says, gene or allele frequencies, is it evolution? It's just senses information. Like it's what?
Yeah, a bit of orange is really special.
I was listening to him yesterday, and holy shit, he's got this series with Raw Matt, and listening to the two of them together, it's a mind-numbing experience. But he teaches children.
I'll have to ask, what's the age range? Sorry to interrupt. What's the age range for that subscription?
For
the creation thing, the thing that you subscribe to, because that's quite interesting. Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. Shit.
For the thing I just linked?
I've got answers.
Speed.
Okay, I've got Answers Insider. It doesn't. I don't think it specifies a range. Let me see if I can find it. They just have a little blurb inside of the adult magazine advertising the Kidz magazine, and I haven't ordered the Kidz magazine yet, so I'll get it by next week.
All right.
But we'll get into it. I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure it's I don't know, 2 to 18. You know?
But yeah, this guy.
That's terrible.
But yeah, I've seen people like Vice Rhino respond to this guy before.
All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and dip out, guys. I'm gonna go take care of my kids. They're in school. So yeah, thanks, sir.
Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, bye. Take care, guys.
Bye.
I got some brightness in my eyes. It's a sun. The day stars.
Now we are filling the whole screen. Yes.
Yeah. It snowed here this morning about an hour ago for the first time. Like gigantic snowflakes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's 40 above, but it was like, I've got 2 stereo microscopes. I got an old one. I got to take the old one and put it outside so it's cold. And then I can put snowflakes under the microscope. It's pretty awesome.
I thought you meant figurative giant snowflakes.
What's that?
I thought you meant figuratively, like people who were upset about
like Smokey. No, no, I meant actual snowflakes.
Yeah.
They were like this. They were the size of a quarter coming down.
Oh,
and
nice.
if you put your microscope outside and get it to, freezing temperature, you could put the snowflake on the slide and look at them, and then you look at it and you say, "Oh my God, that's so complex. There must be a God."
Yeah. It's interesting. I've heard many of the arguments from improbability, like, it's so improbable for a protein to form by random chance. But if you do the same calculations for like a snowflake,
one snowflake,
it's also impossible according to them. But yeah,
yep.
Of course, it's not random. Like chemistry has some rules, and complex things can follow very easy from these interactions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one other little interesting thing happened yesterday. I got a book called The First Couple, Adam and Eve, Independent Origins, Refuting the Critics of Biblical Creation by Standing for Truth. And it has a picture of him on the back. And I don't know, I haven't combed my hair, so I don't know. I hope this doesn't go too badly, but I just want to show the picture. Cam Mike.
Book?
Huh?
I'm not going to buy it. What's the name of it?
Well, it's there's Stanley, my son.
Oh man,
He looks like Adam from like Adam Ruins Everything.
He looks just like me, man. I mean, that's definitely my biological son. Anyway,
not a bad picture.
Huh? What?
It's not a horrible picture.
No, but you notice the hair immutable and that there's a backstory. But anyway,
there is.
There's my wonderful microscope. You see that stack of books back there? When that stack of books reaches 2.5 feet, I have to call my sponsor.
Oh, that's part 1. Oh, Jesus.
Huh? Those are my current, what I'm trying to read.
Apparently, this is just part 1 to this book.
There's a part 1.
This one says on the Amazon description, part 1.
Isn't that the book that contains hyperlinks? like standing for truth.
Sure. Hold on.
Standing and Romance made a book that they planned to be hard printed, and it contains hyperlinks to website.
Yeah. You got to type in the whole fucking hyperlink.
How does that work?
Yeah, I also have the Kindle version. I bought both versions because I'm trying to put his kids through school. He said me and his mom are the only ones that have bought it so far. He's got a good sense of humor.
Well, I remember Erica, Kidz Gibbon, asking Standing how do I use the hyperlink on the hard copy? And Standing says, just click on it.
Well, normally what they do is they just give you a photo, an image of the paper. They don't even. So if you have the PDF, there's images in there, so you still can't click on the goddamn thing.
Oh yes.
And you can't even copy them. You have to sit there and type them all in. And I've yelled at him about that over and over again. In his latest video, he actually did put the links out, so I will give him credit for that. But it's about fucking time because I am so tired of typing in every paper and finding them. And
the Standing for Truth Brain Trust. I like that name from Kidz Gibbon. They are a mess.
Yes.
Do me a favor. Towards the end of his first chapter, does he cite a bibliography for each chapter, or how does this thing?
Let me take a look here. Where the hell does he have? He's got a bibliography at the end of the book. Oh no! At the end of the chapters he does on this one.
Oh,
he's getting better. He's getting better. And
they're not learning how to write. Holy shit!
They're not hyperlinks. So in the back here he has Tompkins. Creationism, a link to Tompkins.
Okay. I began to see a pattern here.
There's this is chapter 4. The references are J. Tompkins, J.P. Tompkins, and Tompkins and Bergman. There. That's a break in the pattern. Okay.
That's for one chapter.
Yeah, one chapter.
Still not proper citation, but okay.
And I started looking into chapter 4. That's chapter 4, Junk DNA is Junk Science. And the first thing he does is refer to Dr. Jonathan Wells' book, The Myth of Junk DNA. So I went to my bookshelf and pulled off Dr. Jonathan Wells' book and looked at The Myth of Junk DNA. And inside of there, he has links to papers. So I pulled up the papers and I was reading the papers this morning, and they don't say what the fuck he was saying.
No.
So, but it took like 20 minutes to make that journey.
Standing has been explained about encode like a dozen times right now, and he still doesn't get it. He refuses to get it.
I know. And that's what and so I want to. I would love to do a video on junk DNA, and I set out to do it yesterday. But then the problem I have is I want to read every goddamn one of those papers to make sure that they're not right. And to read every one of those papers is going to take me a week.
and here's the thing, Standing for Truth thinks that evolution as a whole hinges on the existence of junk DNA, and if junk DNA doesn't exist, it disproves evolution. But it's not the case, because there are actually some evolutionists, quote unquote, that actually believe that there is no junk DNA, because there's a divide between the old-fashioned evolutionists that focuses only on natural selection and think that genetic drift are is irrelevant.
Let me read something. Chapter 4, Junk DNA is Junk Science. The evolutionary community has lost one of their best pieces of evidence for common ancestry. Proponents of evolution have often pointed to junk DNA as evidence against a designer. And then he goes on.
I would say that I've heard some make that argument, but I don't agree with that argument. Because,
Well, you know what's interesting? I have all these genetics books, and I have copies from the first edition of like 1990, and then I have copies from 2017. Starting around before 2010, none of them have junk DNA in their index. After 2010, they do. Junk DNA was the term was coined by Ono, I think, in 1970 something. And the thing is, nobody fucking talked about junk DNA in evolutionary biology until the creationists started talking about it.
Also, I think Immutable want to say something.
Yeah. So I'm reading from page, I believe it's 30.
Oh, you have the book?
No, I'm searching like through the parts you can read for free on like take a look part.
Oh, come on, give Stanley some money. He's my son.
No, I'm sorry.
He's my son, and
what Robert Carter states here is just hilarious. The three founding ark couples could have carried a huge percentage of the pre-flood genetic variation, Adam and Eve's diversity, plus pre-flood mutations, with the exception of the Y chromosome. Total loss of all but one line, and mitochondrial DNA restricted to 3 lines. Hence, the biblical flood model fits the available data nicely, and the data do not serve an easy refutation of Adam and Eve. Page 30 of his book.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
But so the issue with this, right, is that I'm pretty sure all creationists claim, or at least standing claims, that like all existing diversity, right, that was possible existed like when Adam and Eve were created by virtue of their genome.
Right, but the Noah bottleneck would have cut that out.
Well, but the issue is that like Robert Carter is arguing for that more like diversity would have been added because of pre-flood mutations. No, according to your model, mutations are deleterious to the genome,
right?
And so would have restricted it.
Right.
And having only 8 people on that ark, both of which are derived from the same genome and highly homozygous, wouldn't help that either, because the gestation time, like for humans to give birth, isn't like 5 seconds; it's 9 months. So unless humans are like spitting out like 20 kids at a time, like every other second, I don't think that's going to work.
Right. Now they had Dr. Robert Carter came up with the new thing, which is Matrix Eve. So he said Eve was created with 40,000 completely different genomes in each egg. But get this, when they went on the ark, all but 3 of them would have been gone, or all but 6. So they lose again. So there's no way that the matrix theory is going to get them the genetic diversity we have today. And
I also remember a conversation with Standing where he said that the high amount of diversity within the mitochondrial genome was due to created heterozygosity, but Standing, the mitochondrial genome is like homozygous. It doesn't have an allelic variation.
Right.
There is no heterozygosity in the mitochondrial genome. So.
Yeah, and then I heard him say on one of his broadcasts, he said, and God created tens of thousands of elephants, so there was a lot of basically a lot of room there for speciation in the elephant kind, but he totally forgot the fucking flood again, where they only took 2 elephants. So now we're down to a bottleneck of 2 again. Yeah. So no matter what they come up with, that flood story. So I told him at one point, I said, if you got rid of that whole flood story, things would be easier for you.
Did the mastodons and the Gonforteers evolve after the flood, or did they went extinct before the flood, and only the modern elephants made it through the flood? Like, what is your model there? Please explain.
I'm not sure which. They get kind of fuzzy about that. We had them on the channel once. We got them to admit that what the hell was it? Neanderthals only existed for 1,300 years. They went from branching off of humans except they were, he claims they are humans. They branched off right after Babel, about 300 years after Babel. They existed for 1,300 years and then went extinct, which is pretty fast to go through the entire Neanderthal journey, So
even if you like made it the easiest for like the question is like if you only focus on the modern elephant group, like the Asian elephant and the African elephants, and only their relatives, like, all right, even then it is impossible for that group to have speciated within such a short amount of time after the flood that ended.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
And you have also all the other extinct elephant forms, like the mastodons and such. It's ridiculous.
Hey, Michael, quick question.
Yes.
You ever thought making our own book about just going through and tearing apart these claims, like, and putting it into a book format?
Oh, we can do that. Except, you know what that would be? That would be like work.
I mean, we have like 6 people now. We have 6 people though. I mean, we got.
I think you should take up on like Godswick Gibbon or was it RJ? One of them says we should like combine our resources into one thing. Like such.
I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, I think it's going to take a team to like really keep on track of like these numbskulls.
Yeah.
I reached out to Dr. Dan to have a recombination workshop, and I don't know if he really understood what I was asking, but so far I've not gotten a positive response from him. But it would be cool if Molecular Alchemy and Dr. Dan and maybe Demeter and all of us got together, even for a private chat, and just worked out this recombination issue. Which is another big talking point that Dr. Carter came up with.
What recombination issue? The
PRDM9 gene, and they're claiming that they found a way to wedge African diversity into their model using recombination hotspots. And so I started looking into that. But then there's a lot of things about recombination that I want to make sure I've got right. So I would like to talk to Dr. Dan and Molecular and just go over the whole process of recombination and make damn sure that that I understand it completely. So,
you said it's HRPM?
PRDM9, I think it is. Hang on a second. I have paper after paper after paper.
PRDM9.
Paper after paper after.
It's a protein that in humans is encoded by, responsible for recombination hotspots during meiosis.
Yep.
By binding a DNA sequence motif encoded in zinc finger domain. PRDM9 is the only speciation gene found so far in mammals and is the fastest evolving. And it's one of the fastest evolving genes in the genome.
Yes, and it's really cool because it can increase or decrease recombination or just change the way, the places where recombination is done. The other thing is it looks like one of the questions I had about recombination is why doesn't it slice a gene in half? Well, one reason is that the genes only occupy a very small part of the genome, but the other reason is these hotspots. These hotspots are not in genic regions or in protein coding regions. They're always outside of a gene. So that's why the slicing gets done without killing too many organisms. So, but anyway, this is
even if you have a recombination event within a gene, then it will balance out, right? Like if you recombine.
It depends on
if it's an equal crossing over. If it's an unequal crossing over, then of course it will make it. Yeah, there's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, something hilarious from Brainbug. I'll have to check on that. Oh, okay. Well, guys, we got an hour, I think. Or has it been an hour?
It's been about an hour.
Yeah.
About an hour. We usually go about an hour on this thing. Well, actually, I used to go about 10, 15 minutes, but let's see. In a second. Sauropods were actually giant tortoises. What? What the fuck? I gotta show this. How can I do that? Let's see. I can't do that without. I have to be careful. Yeah, I can't put the name out. So, anyway, do you have a link to that, Brain Bug? Hey, the rage is here. Oh my God!
Nice.
Sauropods were actually giant tortoises. Their shells don't show up in the fossil record because they're made of cartilage and rapidly decompose. This came from Brain Bug. So, anyway, we will address this one. This is awesome. There's a
Knock's going live soon in 30 minutes about.
Who is?
Knock is going live in about 30 minutes.
Okay. Yep. So we should take a break. I've got to make a. I'm actually going I'm going on a family vacation with my son today.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
This BMW. Yeah, we get to go to the car dealer. That's a family vacation. Oh yeah, like a month and a half ago, me and my other son, we went to Walgreens together, and we had so much fun. We drove down the street, we drove down Lindale, and it was exciting. There were people out there. There were people out there.
Sounds exhilarating.
Like 3 of them. Yes. So family vacation today. Going to the car dealer. Okay, guys. Going to end this. What do you think? Bye, guys. Bye all in the public sphere or wherever the fuck you are.